Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings.
Wow, what a killer Raw. This is definitely one of the best Raws we've seen all year.
I'll probably give this a 10 out of 10. Little Rock, Arkansas got one hell of a show.
Yeah, 100%. 10 out of 10 is my rating for this show. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think the rating for this Raw should be. Alright, let's get started with the very first match of the night. R-Truth and Carmella versus Drake Maverick and Renee, who is Drake's wife. It's not the commentary Renee is, this is Renee as in his wife. Very interesting. I was like, this match can go both ways, because I was kind of stuck in the middle, because if you've seen the way the storyline has played out over the last couple of months, Drake Maverick has been chasing it, and this is the last straw. I feel like once he gets it for a long amount of time, that feud is over, simply because this is what he's wanted for so long. I mean, R-Truth ruined his wedding and all this stuff, and I think R-Truth and Carmella having it as of right now has been brilliant, and I don't see anybody else other than them having it. So I was kind of stuck. I didn't know who to go for in this side.
And what better way for R-Truth and Drake Maverick to settle their differences than in the ring, for the 24/7 championship.
I think what played a really huge difference and a really huge part in this match was R-Truth's power and his size. I feel like because Drake Maverick is a smaller guy, he couldn't use that to his advantage. And yes, he could have used his speed against his advantage, but in reality, R-Truth he's a powerhouse compared to Drake Maverick, and he's already quick. So at this point, Drake had no advantage, in my opinion.
And Drake Maverick tried to pull a fast one on R-Truth, and he tried to finish the match as soon as he could, because he knew that as soon as he won the title, everybody that was outside the ring was going to come out after him for the championship.
Yes, and that is what ended up happening, because R-Truth ended up getting the win fair and square. He was able to beat Drake Maverick, and then everybody just came in to the ring and pinned R-Truth, and the one that ended up getting the championship from him was none other than who, Armando?
Kanellis.
Yes, Mike Kanellis pinned him for the championship, and so he was smart. He ran away as soon as he possibly could. Now where do we go from here? Where does the 24/7 championship go? What happens with R-Truth and Carmella? Are they still going to be a duel, or are they going to be split? I don't know. I don't want to see them split.
I think they're still going to stick together, and they're going to work towards getting back the 24/7 championship.
Speaking of 24/7 championship, later on in the night we get to see Maria Kanellis actually win the 24/7 championship, because she makes Mike Kanellis lay down, and she pretty much pins him, and she goes around telling everybody that nobody can pin her because she's pregnant.
Well, she does have a point. Nobody's going to want to put their hands on a pregnant woman.
Exactly.
So that was pretty smart on her part.
Now the question is, how long is she gonna hold the 24/7 championship?
We'll see.
Let us know in the comments below how long you think Maria is gonna hold the championship. Okay, moving on to the second match of the night, which was the 5 Superstar Gauntlet match. So the first 2 superstars that open up this match are Rey Mysterio and Cesaro.
Keep in mind that in a gauntlet match, the one that always has the advantage is the last superstar that goes inside the ring, and we'll see who the last superstar was a little bit later.
Yeah, and at this point, the ones at the disadvantage are Rey Mysterio and Cesaro, because they're the very first ones, and they have to go through 4 other men in order for them to secure and punch their ticket into SummerSlam to face AJ Styles for the U.S. Championship.
I feel that Cesaro in this match was pretty much prepared, because he has faced Ricochet a lot of times. So Rey Mysterio's style with Ricochet is pretty much similar. You got both of them are fast paced, but at the end of the day, Cesaro's power is what makes the difference.
Yeah, 100%. But I also feel like Rey Mysterio's experience really helped him out through this match. I mean, come on, he's a veteran. He's been doing this for over a decade now, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think that's what played a huge role against Cesaro, because as you said, Cesaro's power played a huge role going into this match, and against Rey Mysterio himself. He's tiny.
Yeah, and I think Rey Mysterio came out with the game plan, and his game plan was, the longer it goes, the more he's going to favor me, because Cesaro was going to get frustrated, and that's where I'm going to get him. And sure enough, that's what he ended up doing.
Yes, Rey Mysterio's style playing a huge role in this match. Okay, so he was able to capitalized on Cesaro. He was able to get that win. Therefore, he moves on to, I guess, the next round, the next match, which was Rey Mysterio versus Sami Zayn. I was like, okay, this is going to be a really complicated one because we know Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn didn't waste not a moment. He literally walked down the ring and was like, you know what? I'm going to take my opportunity. He's not fresh. I am. I have an advantage. He went right after Rey, and it cost him.
Which was a smart thing they do. I would have done the exact same thing. Go out and try to get the win as quickly as possible. But what ends up happening is Rey Mysterio ends up pulling up a fast one and gets the win.
Yes, 100%. And now, Rey Mysterio versus Andrade with obviously Zelina Vega by his side.
Keep in mind, Rey Mysterio had already gone through a brutal match with Cesaro and with... I don't call it a match against Sami Zayn because he pretty much ended it really quick. But even then, it's still 2 matches.
Yeah, even then, he's still not fresh. He's still not at the level that Andrade is going to be going into this match. And we already knew Andrade was going to take advantage of every single opportunity he was going to get. And that's exactly what he did. He came in strong and prepared.
I feel that this Andrade is more focused. He knows what he's going after, and he is very dangerous, especially when Zelina Vega starts getting involved, because they're on the same page, and they're just a perfect duo. They're that duo that works very well, and they know what each other wants in the ring.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I 100% agree with you on that one. I think this is a new Andrade. And I do see this Andrade doing big things. I mean, he was put over not only by commentary, but he was put over in this match. And I think that's really beneficial moving forward.
Not only that, but you got to keep in mind that Andrade has Rey Mysterio's number. Ever since they faced each other, Rey Mysterio has struggled with Andrade and hasn't been able to defeat him.
And these guys gave a fight, you know. I was very, very impressed. They always bring something new to the table. But one of the things that shows how much more cruel and how much more brutal and how much Andrade wants this is the disrespect towards Rey Mysterio. As soon as the match ended, he had already beat him. You know, he could have left it at that. He could have let them leave. But no, he wanted to prove his point. He wanted to get his point across. And what does he do? He tears Rey Mysterio's mask off.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to make a statement in Mysterio, like, look, you're a legend, your time is pretty much done, it's my turn, I'm the future of SmackDown, of WWE.
100% agree with you on that one, and I feel like what better way to make a name for yourself than to go up against somebody like Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you this isn't over. This is definitely leading into a bigger feud, potentially at SummerSlam or maybe even at a Rumble or a Mania. That's something I would like to see, a one-on-one match.
I see it happening at SummerSlam just because now Andrade had ripped Rey Mysterio's mask off, so Rey Mysterio's not going to be happy about that. We know that that's, like you said, the ultimate sign of disrespect. But this match would also be great maybe at a WrestleMania, at a Royal Rumble. We'll see.
We'll see, for sure. And then that leads Andrade moving on to face Ricochet. These two guys are pretty much evenly matched. I feel like Andrade has met his match inside of the ring. Power-wise, they're both about the same. And you were able to see that at the very beginning when they were both locked together. It shows how their power really comes together, and their wrestling style is just about similar. Yes, Andrade has more of a lucha style, but Ricochet can match that. He can athletically compete with Andrade.
He can match that. I think one of the differences, like you said, was the power. I feel Andrade is a little bit more stronger than him. And another thing, too, that helped Andrade out in this match was the aggression. Like I said, that I've been talking about. He is more focused and he's determined on what he wants.
This new Andrade is going after what he wants, and he's definitely going to get it. Sooner or later, he's going to prove why he is the future of SmackDown Live.
And he started to dominate Ricochet in the ring, and that's hard to do with Ricochet because he is a fast-paced athlete, fast-paced wrestler.
And Ricochet, I feel, was able to outsmart Andrade, and the reason why I say that is because he couldn't out-wrestle him, obviously. But he had to find some ways to overcome Andrade. They are pretty similar, as I said. So he figured that out, and he was able to punch his ticket to SummerSlam.
Yeah, and then keep in mind, Andrade had Zelina in his corner. She did get involved throughout the match, but that wasn't enough. But that's another factor that makes Andrade as Selena so dangerous.
And Ricochet moving on to face AJ Styles at SummerSlam. Very, very interesting. It's going to be quite a journey. I can see Ricochet taking it away from AJ, but at the same time, given the fact of what happens later on the night, I don't want to spoil it, but what happened later on tonight, I can see AJ retaining.
Not only that, but keep in mind that AJ has the OC with them, the original club, and that makes him more dangerous because they're most likely going to be ringside with them. So Ricochet automatically from the get-go is going to have a disadvantage.
100%. Okay, moving on to a moment of bliss. Well, she starts off by giving a huge shout out to Maria Kanellis, who obviously, as I mentioned before, had previously won the 24/7 championship, so congratulations to her, as Alexa did say. And she said that at the Raw reunion, one of the things that Stone Cold made very clear was that everybody here was a family, and that Dolph Ziggler crossed the line and he disrespected family when he super kicked Shawn Michaels.
He did. I wouldn't do that to a legend. They pretty much paved the way for a lot of those superstars that are in the roster.
Yeah, and she wasn't happy about it. She thought it was ridiculous. She was like, how can somebody get away with this? But that was part of her point, because what she shows is video footage of Natty training of how to conquer, or how to
counter, pretty much.
Yeah, how to counter. Sorry for the terminology. How to counter the disarmer. Sorry, and we got to see Becky come into the ring and just attack her out of nowhere. She puts her in the disarmer, and that's not fair. Alexa wasn't happy with
It's that. Not fair, but at the same time, Becky Lynch is not trying to make a statement, but she sees Natty as a threat. That's what I feel like. Okay, you know what? She is probably going to be one of my toughest opponents, and I got to get in her head.
What I'm getting from this whole thing is jealousy. We did get to hear her say during this short clip, oh, this is for training Ronda, you traitor, and I feel like that's where this comes from. Becky still holds a grudge against Ronda Rousey, even though she was able to beat her at WrestleMania. And I think that's where this comes from, but I have to side with Natty on this one. I think Natty was right. Natty deserves to be where she's at, and if Natty wants to help train up-and-coming talent, she should be able to do that. I don't see why Becky Lynch is upset. And Ronda, if she went up to her friend and asked her for help for training, I don't see why not. That's kind of like Becky going up to Charlotte and being like, hey, can you train me for a match? And what are you supposed to say, no?
Yeah, she definitely did wrong on that, but at the same time, like I said, I see Becky's perspective. She is trying to get in Natty's head, and I believe it's not working so far for her.
Yeah, I believe it's not working. I think she has to change tactics. She has to find some way to get into Natty's head. Otherwise, we could potentially be crowning a new Raw Women's Champion. So, moving on to the very next match of the night, which was the OC, which is the original club, versus the Usos versus the Revival for the Raw Tag Team Championships.
In my opinion, these three teams are probably the best tag teams in the WWE. One, I would consider the best tag team in the world. The other one, the best tag team in the WWE. Obviously, the OC, from what they've done all in the indies all around the world, they're the best tag team in the world. And obviously, the Usos for what they've done in the WWE.
And the Revival have been able to prove and stand their ground against both tag teams. I think the Usos have the Revival have really elevated their game in the last couple of months. I think they've really proven to be elite, to be superstars that deserve to be against the best of the best, and I like them as the champs.
Pretty evenly matched tag team, like you said. Obviously, the OC just has a ton of experience. That's what I see the advantage of them. The Usos, they work well together. They're that brotherhood that we see all around in the Revival. They've learned how to survive. They've learned how to pretty much
adapt.
Yeah, adapt and do whatever it takes to win. And we saw that throughout this match.
Yeah. they learned from the Usos 100%. I think they sat down and they analyzed and they were like, okay, how are we going to take down the Usos? And they found their weakest points and they were like, you know what, this is how we will. And they finally were able to do that and they became tag team champions.
And this is how you know that the OC, the original club, Luke Gallows and Anderson, have pretty much been all around the world. They pretty much sit back for like half of the match and let the Usos and the Revival fight, wear each other down.
I see that point because that is brilliant. That's a smart strategy. That keeps you fresh and that gives you the ultimate advantage. But also the Revival was isolating the Usos and not letting them go anywhere near Gallows and Anderson's corner, not letting them get to the other Uso in order for them to be able to tag. And I think that's something you really have to give to the Revival because they have learned, as you've said, tag team, how to work together, and they've molded themselves into what they want to be, and they've been the tag team to beat over the last couple of months.
Yeah, and I mean, the Usos did not let us down in this match. Not all the tag teams didn't let us down. This was a great match. It's just great tag team wrestling at its finest.
Right now, Raw's tag team division is elite. They are completely above the level that they should be, and I'm glad because we got to see 3 different tag teams really go at it. 3 of the best tag teams, as you said, in the world.
And as we all know, the OC was the one that ended up being victorious because, like in my opinion, of their experience. They waited for the perfect moment to capitalize, and they ended up winning, so that makes them the new Raw Tag Team Champions.
Which now means AJ and the OC hold all the gold on Raw. Aside from the main championship, they hold all the gold on Raw. So they are definitely going to be the faction to beat, the faction to take down. Who's going to do that? I don't know. But because of that, I see AJ retaining at SummerSlam, like I said earlier. But I don't know. I think Ricochet is really going to put up a fight. So I'm kind of stuck between that one. But we will get you guys some predictions to that.
Yes, I have to agree with you on that one. Going back on Ricochet, he has beaten all 3 members of the club. It's going to be a tough match, but it's going to be even more tougher because the OC is going to want to protect all the gold. They're going to do whatever it takes to be successful at it.
Yep, and to hold those championships for as long as they possibly can. And I honestly don't see a team beating them for them right now. It's not going to be the Usos. It's not going to be the Revival. So someone has to step up. Okay, the Viking Raiders versus Johnny James and Carter, I think were their names. I could be wrong. Sorry if I'm wrong. This is the team, though, that I can see potentially taking down the OC. These guys are extremely brutal. They've proven themselves week after week after week after week, and I think each week they are making a point.
You know who they remind me of a little bit? Kind of like AOP. You know, they're just dominant. They pretty much went through whoever they faced, but keep in mind, AOP had an injury, and that's what pretty much why we haven't seen much of them. Hopefully with this tag team, the Viking Raiders, we don't experience that. Hopefully we get to see more of them at their full potential, and hopefully they don't get injuries because this tag team has the potential to pretty much destroy anybody in their path.
Yep. He said absolutely everything I needed to say about that team. Again, I will say it again. This is the team that I can see potentially dethroning the OC. They are molded extremely well together that I think this is the team that's going to hold the championship for the longest time.
And it's just pure power and agility. It's just impressive what they've done so far.
Exactly. Okay, moving on to Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. Great match. I was very excited to see this match. I mean, we have somebody like Alexa Bliss going up against the Raw Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. Amazing competitors.
From the get-go, this was going to be a clash of egos to see who was the better woman out of all of them in the WWE.
And I think this was the clash of egos because Alexa's ego is extremely big and so is Becky Lynch. And I think that's what was going to be the main factor in this match. Who was better than the other. And they were both out to prove a point.
Yeah, they both know how to push each other's buttons to the extreme. And we saw that today.
Yes, 100%. And Alexa, you really have to give it to her. Ever since she came back, she hasn't really had many matches, but I think this is one of her best matches yet till date since coming back.
Yeah.
She controlled the majority of the match, and nowadays we don't really get to see that with Becky. Becky comes in and she pretty much does all the work, causes all the damage and takes out her opponents. In this case, it was reversed. Alexa was definitely prepared for Becky Lynch.
Yeah, and then we also saw a little bit of Becky struggling with Alexa. You know, she couldn't pretty much get full control of the match because Alexa was so quick and was smart on her moveset.
And going into this match, Becky Lynch was already at the disadvantage. I mean, Alexa had Nikki Cross at ringside, so that alone already gave Alexa the advantage and gave Becky Lynch the disadvantage. So the numbers game was definitely going to play a role in this match, and we got to see that.
And we did see Nikki Cross get involved. She pretty much went and pretty much punched Becky Lynch right in the face when she was pretty much hanging from the ropes.
Exactly. So Nikki Cross wanted to do anything in her power to give Alexa Bliss a victory and potentially a championship opportunity, because we know the moment you pin the champ, that automatically puts you at the front of the line for a championship opportunity.
Yeah, Nikki Cross learning from Alexa so much, and we saw it when she pretty much sucker punched Becky Lynch in the side of the ring.
Hey, she has a great mentor. Can you blame her? No, not really. And this match pretty much ended in a no contest because, well, Becky Lynch ended up winning. I consider it a no contest because Alexa couldn't continue. She hurt her ankle throughout the match, and so they said she wasn't able to continue, and Nikki was really upset. She was ticked off because she's like, well, you pretty much hurt Alexa, and we know how much she loves Alexa. You can't make fun of Alexa.
Not only that, but Nikki Cross thought that Becky Lynch hurt Alexa on purpose. And we all know in wrestling, you know, you have to get hurt. You know, you get hurt once in a while by accident. It's never on purpose.
Yes, it's never intentional. And so what does she do? She challenges Becky Lynch to a match, and so Becky's like, fine. They make it official during the commercial break, and what happens now is Nikki Cross versus Becky Lynch. Very impressed with Nikki Cross, though. She really held her own against Becky Lynch.
And not only that, but we see Nikki Cross's improvement week after week after week, and she proved it against the champ today.
She definitely did, and you know what's funny? When I was talking to you about this earlier, I can see Nikki Cross being the one that actually beat Becky Lynch for the championship. Yeah. And I'm saying that right now.
Yeah, I could see that happening, and maybe, like you said, potentially Alexa Bliss betraying her. Because we all know how Alexa Bliss is at the end of the day. She's smart, and she knows how to get what she wants. So if she wants to get to that title, she's going to use Nikki Cross at her advantage.
Yeah, and the way I see it is this. Alexa is a great competitor. She's brilliant. She's smart. She can wrestle. And she always has something up her sleeve. This whole friendship with Nikki Cross, there's something that she wants out of it. And I think she saw the potential in Nikki Cross, and she's like, okay, Nikki is the woman that can dethrone Becky Lynch. So what am I going to do? I'm going to befriend her. And then, once Nikki gets to that level and she actually beats Becky, that's my chance to take advantage of this entire situation.
And so Becky ended up being victorious. And speaking of Alexa Bliss and how smart she is, what happens? It turns out that she wasn't hurt, that she pretty much faked the injury and was able to attack Becky Lynch after the match.
Yes, I'm telling you, she has something up her sleeve all the time. She is brilliant.
Never underestimate Alexa.
Yes, never underestimate Alexa. And don't ever trust her, because you never know. She could be lying to you right to your face, and that's exactly what she did to Becky Lynch. And I think Nikki Cross was in it, because, you know, obviously this was a setup for Natty. Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler, who pretty much comes out mocking HBK, the disrespect man.
Yeah, for me, Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler was going to be pretty much match of the night, because these guys have feud with each other in the past, and they never disappoint us.
Yeah, we've seen these matches time and time again. There was a time when we would get it for a whole month straight, and each and every single time they would deliver and exceed the expectations.
Keep in mind, this was a very upset Seth Rollins because of what Dolph Ziggler did to HBK last week on SmackDown Live.
On Raw. Or SmackDown.
It was SmackDown.
Was it SmackDown?
Yeah, because it was on Miz TV.
Okay. So, he was mad about that. So, what does he want to do? He wants to defend the honor of HBK and be that example, that leader for the entire roster. So, what does he do? He goes right after Dolph Ziggler, but I think he paid for it really, really hard.
Yeah, and from the get-go, like you mentioned earlier, Dolph Ziggler pretty much disrespected Shawn Michaels, and he came out with this theme song. But one thing too is, I've said it in previous podcasts that I saw Dolph Ziggler as the next Shawn Michaels just because of the way he dressed and the way he competed in the ring. And sure enough, you can see both resemblances now. And I would love to see that match somewhere down the road. Maybe if HBK were to get one more match.
Yeah, if HBK were to get the opportunity to get one last match, that's definitely the match I would like to see. Or against AJ Styles, to be completely honest with you. But moving back into this match, Seth Rollins, as you said, very, very upset. He was very motivated, and I think his biggest mistake was not taking into consideration who his SummerSlam opponent was. Throughout this match, it's ended in no contest. Brock Lesnar's music played, and at first everybody thought, okay, he's trolling, this is what he likes to do, he likes to get inside Seth Rollins' head, he likes to play those mind games. But no, he actually comes out and he completely destroyed Seth Rollins.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Seth Rollins was going to attack Brock Lesnar, so what does Dolph Ziggler do? He holds him by the leg, and that allows Brock Lesnar the advantage to come in and attack him, and from there, it was bad.
It was endgame for Seth Rollins, pretty much. Chair shots, he got F5'd, he got suplexed. Literally anything you could potentially think of. The poor guy was bleeding, and he just got taken out really bad.
He got F5'd into the ring pole, pretty much, the LED ring pole, and he pretty much got F5'd onto a steel chair as well, which damaging his ribs, and that's what pretty much what Brock Lesnar targeted.
And he also got F5'd into a stretcher. Even after all the damage that he did, Brock Lesnar goes after him in the ambulance. He takes him out, and he pretty much puts him through another crucial F5. So the state of Seth Rollins is still to be unknown. I guess we'll find out next week where he stands. But you can never underestimate Brock Lesnar.
No, and the Brock Lesnar making a statement, showing why he is the beast and one of the most dangerous athletes that WWE has ever seen. We'll see what condition Seth Rollins is going into SummerSlam. It's going to look tough for him to make it, but knowing Seth Rollins and the fighting spirit that he has, he's going to be there competing regardless of his injuries.
100%. Okay, moving on to Samoa Joe. Well, technically, we were supposed to have a Samoa Summit, and that ends up not happening because as Seth Rollins is being taken out on a stretcher, Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch are looking, and since Roman is just standing there, who decides to attack him? Samoa Joe, and it leads into a little mini brawl. The Usos come out and try to help him. So at this point, Samoa Joe's like, well, you know what? The Samoa Summit has been canceled. I'm not going to sit here and talk. I want to fight. So what does he do? He calls out none other than the big dog Roman Reigns, and Roman is ready for a fight.
And you have two heavyweights, two of the top competitors in this business just going at it.
Yeah, they're having a brawl, and then who decides to get involved? Drew McIntyre. Again, he has a vendetta against Roman Reigns.
Yep, he does. And not only that, because he has also been feuding with his best friend, Shane McMahon.
Yes. And Cedric Alexander, who we know obviously has some beef, some business to take care of with Drew McIntyre, comes out and he comes to the aid of Roman Reigns. I wasn't expecting that, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, you know what, this makes a lot of sense. And then the Usos come out to try to help out after the OC comes out, and they all just go after it. It's a big brawl, and at the end of the day, who stands victorious?
Cedric Alexander, Roman Reigns, and the Usos end up holding ground and standing in the middle of the ring,
protecting the big dog's yard. Alright, that is all we have for you guys on this episode of Wrestling Siblings. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Become a part of this family. Let us know in the comments below what you guys would like to see. And for those of you that do not know what WWS stands for, I wonder what does WWS stand for?
Wrestling with Siblings. Thank you guys so much.
And before we do go, I want to make a special announcement. We are on Patreon, and we will be launching this week, either Friday or Saturday, we will be launching our first ever women's episode. So if you would like to be a part of this episode, please subscribe to the Patreon. You'll be able to get all the episodes, not only these that you are getting weekly, but you'll also be able to get the women's wrestling episodes that are exclusively to Patreon. So you won't be able to see those on YouTube, you won't be able to see those on iTunes or anywhere else. It's exclusive to Patreon. Subscribe if you want to be able to listen to that.
Very, very excited for this. You're going to pretty much hear how we analyze the women's matches and what we think of the matches. We just go in depth into women's wrestling. It's something for you guys to check out, something new, and we'll hope to see you guys in Patreon.
Yeah, you'll get to finally see us pick each other's brains when it comes to women's wrestling. So subscribe, become a part of the family, and we'll see you guys on a new episode of Wrestling with Siblings.
Thank you guys so much.